like this healthcare CEO. You have to understand that people are mad not just at the CEO, but at the whole institution of healthcare in this country. People are suffering and people are going to snap if you keep, telling sick people that they're not covered for things that they have been paying for. So that was his statements, but Ben Shapiro misrepresented them all along the way. So let's see. We do have some more comments I want to get to real quick. Let's see what we have before we end the show. No, I don't have more comments, Mike. Do I? Never mind. You know what? I do want to get to this last story real quick, and I think we can do it very quickly. Yeah, how much time do we have? All right. So this is about Andrew Tate and his brother, and they have been in Romania for a few years, since 2022, and they're both accused of sex trafficking, running a sex trafficking operation. They were under investigation over in Romania, and they arrived in Florida yesterday to an expected MAGA welcome. So why are they here? Why are they back in the United States? Specifically, why are they back in Florida? Who's happy about it and who isn't happy about it? The MAGA fight that ensued was between the Trump administration and Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, with Ron DeSantis saying that Tate was not welcome in Florida before suggesting that he may remove him from the state if he even has the authority to do so. Here is what DeSantis had to say.
We have no involvement in that. I read about it through the media. Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction, whether they want to rebuff his entry into the United States. I do know our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is looking at what state hooks and jurisdiction we may have to be able to deal with this. But the reality is no, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. And I don't know how it came to this.
Okay, so how did we get to this point? Ron DeSantis himself seems a little confused as to how Andrew Tate ended up in his state, especially without any forewarning for him. So, according to reporting from The Intercept, Trump might be behind it, or at least his administration. President Donald Trump's administration has successfully lobbied to bring Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan back to the US from Romania, where Tate faces charges of human trafficking, sexual misconduct, and money laundering. At an international conference, Trump's special envoy, Richard Grenell, pressed Romanian authorities to lift travel restrictions on the self-described misogynist influencer, per the Financial Times. But when asked about any of this, whether or not he had a hand in getting Andrew Tate back into the United States, Trump acted like he had no idea. Here he is. This is a post from C-SPAN on X. President Trump on Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate's release. He said, "I know nothing about that. I don't know. I just know nothing about it. We'll check it out." So, like, he knows nothing. And okay, allegedly he knows nothing. That's what he wants you to believe. We'll see how this all shakes out regarding Trump and his involvement in getting Andrew Tate back to the United States. But in the meantime, MAGA is not happy with Ron DeSantis for speaking out against Andrew Tate. To begin, Laura Loomer, Trump's BFF, referenced Trump's efforts in getting Tate here back to the US from Romania, saying, after news broke, to which Candace Owens responded, Laura Loomer said, after news broke this morning that the Trump administration helped the Tate brothers leave Romania and come back to the United States today, Ron DeSantis said Cobra Tate and Tate the Talisman, that's Andrew and Tristan, are not welcome in Florida. The Tate brothers are US citizens. Good thing Ron isn't the president. And Candace Owens responded, utterly deranged thing for a governor of any state to say American citizens will not be allowed back on American soil, per Governor Ron DeSantis. It's not exactly what he was saying. Again, just a reminder, this guy was accused, he was charged with sex trafficking and also for having sexual relations with a minor. He wasn't convicted of anything, but he was under investigation. So, also, failed Secretary of State candidate Valentina Gomez tweeted this about it, says Ron DeSantis is a hypocrite. Andrew and Tristan have gone through the same allegations Trump, Hegseth, Conor McGregor, and many other extremely successful men have faced. Welcome to America. And the Save the Children / the Protect Women crowd, they want this guy to be seen as, completely a victim in all of this. This is just cancel culture. This is just lawfare that is targeting these guys. But again, Andrew Tate, a lot of the reasons why people hate him is because of his own words, right? The things that he has said on his own platform to his millions of followers, often very impressionable young men or boys who are watching this guy. So he's not a good person. The things that he's espousing are not very pro women at all. Again, he's a self-proclaimed misogynist. And this is the guy who, the MAGA movement, who again just is against all sex trafficking, human trafficking, any kind of grooming, that kind of thing. But they tend to give passes to guys who are on their side of things politically. Jordan, what do you think about the Tates coming back?
I mean, it's more about his actions or their actions or alleged actions than their words. But those three that you pick to show them showing sympathy for the Tates, it's so funny because it's like the three biggest pick-me's on the right. Like they're the anti-feminist women, but also the failed congressional candidate Tryhard who made all those ads about how she was going to kill pedos. Odd hill to die on here. I'll say that. But it's a mess. It's rare to see DeSantis do something sensible, but why would any governor want them in their state?
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we're going to wrap this show. Jordan, we're going to be back tonight for the main show. So we will see you guys later. And I don't have a sign off. I still don't have a sign off, even though somebody tried to help me. I don't have it. So we'll see you tonight. Bye.
Welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Ritchie. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today. Happy Friday to you. Breaking down news of the day, none other than the big homie, Wozni Lumber. Always good to have his fascinating analysis and breakdown. First story of the day, hell of a thing. Black male brutally attacked, beaten by a white male with a hate tattoo. Absolutely no one assist. They decide to jump in and help beat him up rather than help free him. Put it up, full mass. This story has a major update. I'm taking you to Pennsylvania. I want you to see that tattoo. The tattoo says everything you need to know. It says hate. 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 It's an emotion, it's a spirit, it's a darkness, but he's proud of it. Pennsylvania, Brett Hours on the left, a white male with the word hate tattooed to his knuckles was caught on video viciously beating, kicking, and strangling a 52-year-old Preston Coleman for 30 minutes. 30 minutes inside a veterans lodge last month, leaving the Black man clinging to life in a coma. The brutal attack on Mr. Preston Coleman took place on the 5th of January inside of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. This is Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. That's according to local police who have watched the security video from inside the lodge, but have not yet released it to the public. We demand public release of that video. According to the police, who did watch the video once again, Coleman was sitting inside the lodge talking with Mr. Brett Hours. When the white male, Mr. Brett Hours, suddenly pulled out a knife and began stabbing it into the bar while staring at Mr. Coleman, act of intimidation. He then handed the knife to his girlfriend and began punching Mr. Coleman in the face, knocking him to the ground and continuing to punch him. At one point during the attack, he tried to get the knife back from his girlfriend, but she refused to hand it to him. So he decided to then punch her in the face. That is according to the Post-Gazette. Now, there are a few stories contextualized in one. You have this maniac who has launched seemingly an attempted murder on another human being. Inside of the Veterans Lodge, individuals who likely have served in order to protect, likely. No one does anything to provide aid to the man who is brutally attacked. There's more. Quote, Coleman is seen blood-soaked and frail as he grips the bar to pull himself up off the ground. This is according to the local detective, David Masua. The detective wrote this in the complaint against Mr. Hours. The Post-Gazette published it. Quote, without the strength to do so, he falls back into the ground. At this point, Mr. Coleman does not appear to have the strength to defend himself or escape. As Coleman lays on the ground, helpless and defenseless, Mr. Hours continues punching him and kicking him in the head, neck, and facial area. Here's what happened next. LaDonna Crutchfield, 37-year-old black woman. Excuse me. Here's what happened next. I got ahead of myself. Another white male joined in the attack. Now, once again, it's unprovoked. White male joins the attack. A white female bartender looked on, did absolutely nothing to stop the attack, resulting in their arrest as well. Why? They have a duty, they have a responsibility. I'm going to explain that to you. Police said Coleman was punched nearly 250 times, leaving the black male with head injuries, brain swelling, and brain bleeding, major fractures in his face, and at least 3 broken ribs. But it took a month for police to arrest the attacker, Mr. Brett Hours, who has a long history of violence, including being arrested on charges of kidnapping his own cousin in 2011, as well as being caught on video last year assaulting a female in what appeared to be an unprovoked attack again. That's according to the police. The police, who also described the attack on Coleman as unprovoked, arrested Mr. Hours on the proper charges of attempted first-degree murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, 2 counts of strangulation, possession of an instrument of crime, and 3 counts of simple assault. He remains jailed without bond. The Atlanta Black Star did a great job with this story. They contacted the Pennsylvania attorney, Todd Hollis, who was representing Coleman, for a copy of the lawsuit, but his office has not yet responded. The Atlanta Black Star also reached out to 2 of Coleman's daughters for comment, but they have not yet responded either. This story will be updated by the Atlanta Black Star. I highly encourage that you make sure you follow the publication. So here are the dynamics as I see them. Number one, you have an unprovoked attack. Do we know it was racial in nature? I would say we have enough evidence to suggest such, especially the fact that the man walks around with a hate tattoo symbol on his knuckles. Number two, you're inside of a veterans lodge. There should be some level of camaraderie based on the background and experiences shared by the individuals who may attend there. It doesn't seem to exist anymore. Number three, man attacked unprovoked. This is a cowardly act. This is a cowardly act. Mutual combat is one thing, but just jumping on another human being and deciding to wail on them over and over again, and then punching your girlfriend who definitely stopped you from having an absolute murder charge is simply cowardly. And to the other cowards who watched it and did absolutely nothing, did not provide aid, did not provide at least aggressive verbalization, get out, leave, stop hitting him. They watched it as if there was a bloodlust in order to see the final outcome. And then the police, with all of that evidence and all of those witnesses and multiple victims, it still took them damn near 30 days to arrest a known felon, Mr. Howers. You see, the systems of government are not failing us. The systems of humanity are failing us. What's the commonality in all of those failures? The lack of humanity for humanity. The lack of humanity for humanity. We're going to follow this lawsuit. Thoughts and prayers are with Mr. Coleman. Hopefully he has a full recovery. This was one of the most senseless things. And naturally, we understand somebody may say, well, what were they arguing about? Well, there was no argument. It was an unprovoked attack.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a monstrous nature to what happened here. And I echo your sentiments about, obviously, this guy who perpetuated this, the individual, is committed a monstrous act, belongs in prison. As I always say, I hope he gets prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Whatever's on the books that you could throw at him, throw the books, the kitchen sink, throw him under the jail. If anybody's ever deserved it, it's this individual. And the fact that he not only attacked his brother, he attacked his own woman. Again, like, even if you say you have no sympathy for the guy here, you say, oh, maybe he should be able to defend himself. A woman in that case, where this guy is beating on his own lady and everybody just stands and watches, I think that's the one that kind of pains me, that nobody intervened while this guy was behaving that way. Now the police, Dr. Ritchie, these guys respond to their incentives. Maybe they didn't see this as a case that they wanted to, sort of prosecute in the public, make a big deal about making this case. Because we know, man, when the police feel like they got a case, they want to publicize, they want to aggressively pursue it, they do that thing with a vigor and a zeal. The fact that these guys took their sweet time on this, I think it says a lot about where their incentives are.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And naturally, we've seen police hold press conferences. They will say clearly, we're going to make an example out of people like this. This will not be tolerated in our community. But then when it comes to actual violence rooted in the hatred of bigotry, it's brushed under a rug, figuratively, and a person has to uncover it to know that it happened. All right, we'll bring updates, as I said. Okay, well, a Black mother, a mom, falsely accused, arrested due to faulty facial recognition. We've talked about this before. Put up the picture for my ass. Not the first time, won't be the last. Detroit mom was dragged from her own abode, from a home, jailed for attempted murder, after cops mistake her for another Black woman using faulty facial recognition, allowing the machine to be the investigator. Now a Detroit woman is suing the Detroit Police Department for making a false arrest, to which they admit they made a false arrest. Case closed. Here's what happened. LaDonna Crutchfield. Miss Crutchfield, a mother, 37-year-old Black woman, was lying in her bed reading to her 5-year-old daughter when police began pounding on the door. Crutchfield's niece opened the door, encountered 6 Detroit cops who demanded to speak to her aunt. When Miss Crutchfield walked to the door to see what they wanted, they ordered her to step outside and arrested her, claiming they had a warrant over a missed court date. Now, it was only after she was sitting in the back of a patrol car with her hands cuffed behind the back, she realized she was actually being arrested on a charge of assault to commit murder. After police confused her for another Black woman, she ended up spending 8 hours in jail before she was released. Police used, and this is the most troubling part of the story, facial recognition database. This database was utilized as part of their, quote, green light project, which matched Ms. Crutchfield's face to the face of another Black woman who was the real suspect in the alleged crime. According to a federal lawsuit filed Friday against Detroit police, the complaint accuses police of multiple violations, including false arrest, assault, and battery. However, Detroit police claim her false arrest was not the result of a facial recognition software, but their own incompetence. So let's go to Detroit Police Detective Mark Thompson. Detroit Police Detective Mark Thompson pointed to a photo of a Black woman wearing a bonnet and asked Crutchfield if she was the woman in the photo. She denied it. No, I'm not. Quote, "You got to admit it. That looks like you," Thompson said, according to the claim. "Why? Because I am fat and Black like her?" Question mark. She responded. However, Crutchfield, that was her response on the record, okay? Crutchfield told the detective she had been working at the time of the shooting and had alibis to prove it, which apparently was enough to convince the detective. We call that airtight alibis. "I don't believe Miss Crutchfield did the shooting," Thompson told his partner, Karima Yap. And his partner agreed with his assessment, according to the claim. The detectives told her she would be released immediately, but she was released 8 hours later after she was forced to provide police with her fingerprints and a DNA sample through a swab. The department is still denying the false arrest was due to facial recognition. Quote, "This case has nothing to do with facial recognition," Assistant Detroit Police Chief Charles Fitzgerald told Fox 2. Quote, "There was an investigation done," Fitzgerald continued. "The investigation led back to a partial plate. It was a house on the east side. That east side home led us back to our plaintiff. When they compared the image they got from a video, just an image, they don't do any facial recognition. It led us to this individual." I'm going to explain why he's saying this, okay, before I continue. Because if it was their database, the database requires human confirmation. The database requires human confirmation. And so if he says, "Oh yeah, it was the database gave us this picture and we relied on it," it's kind of counterintuitive. You would feel that it may eliminate liability, but it actually compounds liability because the system is not supposed to take place of the investigator. But if the investigator makes a good faith error in the investigative process, that investigator is typically immune, or the department is typically immune from actual prosecution or civil liability prosecution. So that's the reason they're saying this. Now, that's my opinion based on, well, I just know their nature. The DPD and 6 officers are named in the lawsuit, as well as an unnamed female officer as well. Now, the following day, she drove back to the police station, okay, and demanded documentation that she was clear of being a suspect in an alleged crime. And this is one of those crimes, if you're accused of attempted murder, and it's a mistake, obviously, You need a discharge paper. You need something saying, because no judge has told you you are clear. You're depending on the same agency that said they just made this major foul up. So she goes to the department. She demands documentation that she has been cleared of being a suspect of the alleged crime. Detective Thompson apologized for the mistake and gave her a letter stating, quote, I am now able to declare Ms. Crutchfield is not the subject involved in this criminal investigation. Good for her. That definitely will be utilized in the court case. In fact, a 2018 study cited by the ACLU determined that facial recognition technology misidentified Black women 35% of the time while hardly ever getting it wrong for white men. We've talked about the bias in those databases, and the dynamic involved in this is so problematic because one, what the spokesperson has provided says, oh, no. We didn't mess up based on this technology. We messed up based on the license tag technology. That's what happened. I don't believe that story. I do believe a proper lawsuit with individuals under oath and the power to subpoena records will get to the bottom of it. But they're comfortable pivoting away from an authentic investigation. The answer should be, we got it wrong. Our guys made a mistake. Our processes need to be checked. Our training must be more thorough. Our protocols have to be more exacting to ensure that no citizen ever has to go through this. That should be the spirit of your response. But that is not the spirit of their response. They have turned this woman's life upside down, traumatized her children. She's reading to a 5-year-old. Do you think that 5-year-old wants to grow up and be an ally to the police? Maybe be a great police officer herself? Hell no. Because of what they did that night. So here we go, cause and effect. Once again, it starts with a seed, and that seed becomes a forest. All right. Waz, thoughts here?
Obviously, I hope they sue the pants off of these folks and are richly rewarded for this insane blunder. And I think this whole direction that we're heading with technology, I'm not gonna lie, I've become more and more pessimistic about it as the day goes on. There's this facial recognition stuff that the police are using. And I want to tell the listeners about my recent trip to San Francisco, where, Google has this fleet of driverless cars, what I call headless horsemen, that are just, there's like fleets of these things in San Francisco, right? These Waymo cars. And how the cars work, it's actually pretty impressive. Like these self-driving things, like they drive pretty impressively, but how they do it is they basically map their surroundings with a bunch of high-tech cameras on it, man. And it was like 2 a.m. I'm headed home from an event for All-Star Weekend, and I seen a fleet of these things, and I had an epiphany, Dr. Richie. I said, man, one day they're gonna put guns on these things to shoot us all.
Wow.
I hate to get all dark here, man, but that's the way it feels like this technology is going. And these vehicles have all these cameras on it. So it's just one big surveillance machine, a fleet of them throughout the entire city. It's like, oh, it's self-driving. It's so cool. Don't you like the future? This is the future, y'all. This facial recognition stuff jamming up normal citizens. And like Dr. Richie said, turning their life upside down. I hate to be the one ringing the alarm like this, but I really have bad feelings about the way technology is going.
Man, you said something so compelling. I want to help with just landing it the way it landed in my head. That car is a mobile surveillance unit. There's no person, there's no operator, but it is a mobile surveillance unit, even though it is contextualized to us as this great branded mobile idea for a driver. But it does have to record everything in its surrounding at all times in order to do or engage in the technology that it is. Fascinating point, brother. We appreciate you bringing that to us. Okay. Well, a Black woman confronts a bigot at a gas station. Here's how it went down.
Bitch, I came from here, ho. Are you dumb? Somebody, if you didn't bring me, I wouldn't be here. Bitch, who is we? Hey, I'm Jewish. I don't give a. I don't give a. I don't give a.
So you know what?
Somebody, if you didn't bring me here, I wouldn't be here. Bitch, you didn't bring me nowhere, ho. My mama brought me out her. Oh, cause I'm a black.
You.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A goofy.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not
you're
gonna be
stupid.
racist because you're a crybaby.
No, I'm not racist.
You are racist. You just
No,
call
I'm
me
not.
a black stupid
That's
bitch.
because you're black. I'm white.
That's racist, dummy.
No,
That's
it's not.
racist, dummy.
No, it's not.
Clown.
I'm white. I'm a white bitch. I'm a white bitch.
But I never called you that. I wouldn't.
I don't care. I'm a white bitch.
You okay?
So see?
They're gonna find you.
Oh, bull.
They're gonna
Here,
find
let me
you.
take yours.
They're gonna find you.
Just guess what?
They're gonna find. You got a kid up there in the
You
front
think they're
seat.
gonna find it?
You
Who's
have a
gonna
child
find
in
me?
the front seat.
Who's gonna find me?
Why you don't got it in the back seat?
Put up the picture full mass. The camera has a way of changing these individuals. They try to reset the criticism. They try to massage the bigotry. And the road leads right back to what they actually did. Many times they do this because they don't want their colleagues or the neighbors to find out that they are, well, aggressively racist, okay? I'm glad the Black woman confronted her. I am glad that she had the camera to record the incident because it provides a PSA for us and the world, while many attempt to rewrite, not history, but rewrite now and say that racism doesn't even exist today in America. A heated argument, we'll put a picture back up. This was in Iowa. Heated argument between two women. This was an Iowa gas station. Took a racist turn when the white woman allegedly told the Black woman, quote, "You would not be here if we didn't bring you here." Video of the intense encounter has since gone viral on Reddit and TikTok, showing the two women loudly arguing back and forth while standing outside of their cars at the gas pump. The episode filmed by the Black woman who pulled out her phone to capture the unidentified Karen spewing hate while pumping gas in the cold escalated when the Black woman fired back with her own expletives, making it clear that the white woman had messed with her on the wrong day. You know, it's interesting, the concept that somehow they did a favor. And it's not even them. You say, well, our ancestors did it for you. Yeah. If it wasn't for bigoted, racist, money-hungry, free labor-loving, corrupt white ancestors, you all wouldn't be here. So let's get this straight. You take all of this free labor from Africa. You do basically, effectively, a brain drain. It's not just free labor, it's also intellect. It takes skill to build homes and to farm, irrigation, agriculture. These are sciences. So you take all of these scientists from Africa, you take all of these engineers from Africa, you take these architectural workers from Africa. They're not just laborers. They built the White House. They built your house. They irrigated your farms, nursed your children, healthcare workers. So you have a brain drain from Africa to America, and you claim that if it had not been for them, they wouldn't be in America. Here's the reality. If you had not done it, Africa would be America. Do you understand? The resources would have been dedicated to build that land rather than this one. And so the perspective is that no matter what, this would have been a booming, thriving, economically powerful nation. How? You wouldn't even be that without Dr. King in the 60s. Correcting the moral temperature of America, resetting it back on a course of progress, obviously we veered off again. All right, Waz, thoughts here?
I mean, just laughable. It's just the idea that we brought you here and you're lucky. The bottom line is they didn't bring Africans here for their health. They brought them to extract wealth from their labor, like the wealth that built this country, that made it so that it could be an economic economically dominant power that persists 400 years later. Like the wealth of this nation was built on the backs of these exported Africans. So if anything, she should be thanking Black people for making this country as rich as it's become. I mean, that's neither here nor there. I think the part that disturbed me the most is to watch this lady who says, I'm Jewish, and then, in the very next second asserts her whiteness. She's like, I called you a Black B word because you're Black. Look at me. I'm white. Right. She was just so proud and so happy to assert her whiteness there. That's the part that got me right there. Just so giddy in her whiteness, Dr. Richie.
Yeah, and obviously she seems to be a pro, which means likely she has not. This is not her first time. She's had a go at this before. All right, Karen, do better. Okay, we got more on the other side. It's indisputable stick and stay.
I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken when I first got my license, like 17 years old or 17, 18, whatever it was. And I'm driving, I think, my dad's Oldsmobile. And I parked it in a place where there was two cars next to me, really tight spot, and a car behind me. I don't even know how I got in there because I'm a terrible driver. Back then I was an even worse driver. And on the roads I'm okay, but in parking spots I have terrible spatial reasoning and I'm a mess. And on my way out, I hit all three cars at once. I broke all records, okay? So I went, as I'm backing out, I went boom, oh and this side hit that car, this side hit this car, and the back hit the third car, okay? And I got stuck. I didn't know how to get out. Like, I went, okay, for this, and then I'm like, no, and then, right? And then finally I had to stop, go inside the KFC and go, I'm sorry, I hit a bunch of your cars. They're like, what do you mean a bunch of your cars? I'm like, I don't know.
Wow, there's a B?
Yeah, I'm like this, I hit 3 cars. I don't know, so you guys gotta come help me, okay? Okay, so one, my bad, really sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, number 2, can someone take my car out? Because I don't wanna keep hitting your cars and I'm incapable of taking it out of this spot.
Now baby, move that fat, baby, move that fat. Out.
Hi, I'm Brett Ehrlich with Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. This is Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. Hi, Brett Ehrlich here. According to EPA head Scott Pruitt, climate change is not happening. He cited a meme on Facebook he saw. When pressed to back up this source, he said it must be accurate because the watermark said it was made by a scientist. So, your move, Truth.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to Big Pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT, TYT.
The place is like 95% TYT on.
You guys, the Young Turks, which is my favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Tank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
Only people
who support us on the internet. That's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning. They seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. Got a lot of comments. I will read as many as I can. Greatly appreciate everyone. All right, over 9,000 enter the dragon. You're not wrong, Wozni. Remember, the IDF already has turret guns that are operated by AI to keep Palestinians away from them. Wow. 36 chambers dragon. Doc, keep the fist in the air for peaceful revolution. Your wisdom, thoughts, and preaching keeps me going. Love you and yours, and I'll be bringing your teachings to Africa during my Peace Corps term this year. Big Wise, you're a prophet in your own right as well, indisputably truthful, as always, the two of you are. That makes three of us now, because that truth or that light is meant to be carried into places where there is ignorance and darkness, all right? Darkness is mis and disinformation. We greatly appreciate you. Yeah. Sir Jake's Bonds of Steel. Just as a Black veteran, I reminded myself every day that the Tuskegee Airmen came home to be spat on. What did Jay-Z say? And this, and I'm reading your quote because to me, it's the hardest Jay-Z line ever spoken. Don't die for the neighborhood your mama renting. Okay? And that month response time is exactly why. 30 days to respond to that. Yeah. All right. And Nerd with Swag, let's see him do that to the brothers in the yard at the prison. Yeah. It's a publicized case. They'll know when he walks in exactly why he's there. All right, got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on him for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Thank you.
What? So, did I steal something?
Thank you.
Grab my car like that? What's with you? Can I get your name and badge number?
I don't have a badge number.
You don't have a badge number?
No, because I don't work for here.
You don't have a badge number?
No.
What's your name? Officer what?
Why
what
do you
department
know?
you work for?
You want to know all these questions because
yeah, I
you
do.
were stopped.
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I was wrongfully stopped. You grabbed my car.
Because you weren't listening. I was calling you back there.
I don't have to listen to you.
Because I'm the police.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Police.
It's POLICE.
You're a servant. You work for me.
Yeah.
Look at you talking about.
Look at my face. I'm trying to do my job.
Where you about to grab somebody else's card? You don't got no name and badge number though?
You're good. No.
You don't got no name and badge number?
No, I don't.
So why did you grab my car like that? You thought I was stealing?
Officer Karen, you didn't provide your name. Put it up full mask. If you would have simply done what you are required to do by way of the policy and protocol of law enforcement, he's correct about you being an official of the government. Public servant is the contextualization typically, meaning you're paid by the taxpayer. Thus, identification is usually a courtesy and, once again, part of policy, even if that identification comes by way of a badge number, first initial, last name, et cetera. Different agencies have different protocols. The one protocol that no agency has is you don't say anything. You tell them nothing. You have to identify yourself. All right, so the post of the video added more context in the video description, and I'm happy to provide that context. So here's what the poster said via the allegations. On Thursday, February 13th, this police officer illegally grabbed my card and stopped me from leaving Walmart. Also, she accused me of stealing without any evidence. While I was trying to explain myself, this officer told me to, quote, shut up, and demanded me to show her my receipt. Once I showed her the receipt, she realized everything in my cart was paid for. She lost her temper and proceeded to knock my phone down out of my hand. I feel I was prejudiced. I was prejudged, discriminated, traumatized, and under emotional distress. There's more. After this verbal altercation, my stomach and head were hurting. I also wake up in the middle of the night in cold sweats thinking about this incident. The officer failed to identify herself or badge number when requested by a citizen. She had no city/district on her badge, nor did she have a badge number displaying. I honestly couldn't tell if she was a real officer. Now, this gets interesting, right? Maybe she is a post-certified police officer, perhaps for another jurisdiction, perhaps that jurisdiction. Maybe she's working as a security guard, but a cop. But wait, we got more information. All right. While also violating my Fourth Amendment right. Somebody been watching Law and Order. This brother done built the whole damn case. All right. I need you to understand from emotional distress to his quality of life to a constitutional violation. You got a federal case, sir. Right now, you don't even have to file in state court. You have proven the federal statute that applies. Very well done, sir. While also violating my Fourth Amendment right, which protects me from unreasonable searches and seizures. This type of behavior needs to be displayed to the public to show what African Americans go through in everyday life. Also, legal action will be taking place, and I have no intention to back down. Please help this go viral so I can get justice and to show what we black males go through as a whole. Thank you. All right, put it back up. All right, we need to make sure. Walmart, is this one of yours? To this city jurisdiction that should work for you? Somebody can identify her because the young man has a great point. He doesn't know if this encounter was with an actual servant of peace, a protector of justice. He doesn't know. He has no idea. So he has a right to know. And if this is a police officer who is actually employed by Walmart, employed by a local jurisdiction, whatever it may be, that behavior is troubling. And to the dear brother who properly contextualized this whole thing for us and provided the narrative of what he's been going through, I do hope that you have brighter days in front of you. And I will also say this, if she was working for Walmart at the time, Walmart did this to you. I just want to remind you of that, brother. And to any attorney who's listening that may want to help this young man. All right, man, Waz, it's real easy not to end up on Indisputable during the Karen segment. I get conflict. If she would have said, listen, I got a call from one of the store managers and that call was wrong and I'm apologizing to you. If that would have happened, that doesn't end up on Indisputable, okay? That cause and effect, we understand it. You make a mistake. And it's amazing to me that when a person is accused of stealing and the authority, whatever that authority may be, finds out they're not stealing, why isn't it? Why are they never relieved, Wisney? Why are they never happy this person is actually a stand-up citizen? Why are they mad that the individual is a decent human being?
Yeah, it's funny, man. She didn't even have the presence of mind to go with the TSA. The stop was random. We just randomly stopped folks. And hey, you just happen to be, you know what I mean? It was your unlucky day. We randomly stopping folks in there. I'm sorry to disrupt. And that's the thing. It's just the lack of humility. This idea that because you're black, you should expect to be searched. Like, I don't care that you actually paid for everything that's in your case. You're a black person. You should be used to this by now. So get over it. No, you don't get to know my name. You don't get to know my badge number. There's no sort of sense that like she's working with a community of law-abiding citizens of which this brother is a part of. It's like, no, you're part of a group of people who we see as the problem. And so we just didn't happen to get you this time. Doesn't mean we're not gonna get you again. And you don't get to know my name, which I feel like that's illegal in most states. If somebody asks you what's your name, yeah, this is the officer. I'm always abiding by the law. What's the problem with telling you the name?
Right.
It's just kind of telling that this lady took it as like, where do you get off questioning my tactics? You're black.
Yeah, and the irony is, in my opinion, she did not provide her name or identifying information because she didn't want him to report her violations, okay? And in doing so, because he has no other remedy, the video has to go viral to identify who she is, who she was employed with, et cetera, et cetera. All right, we'll bring you updates as they come. I will look for that lawsuit forthcoming. I'm gonna take a quick break. We got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay. Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back. A lot of show left. Okay, let me read some of these beautiful comments. Greatly appreciate everyone. Yeah. Dro Mario said, I wish I wasn't caught being a carrier today. That's a great recommendation for a new segment. You are right. That's what happens when the camera gets pulled out. Okay. Nola Lady, welcome to Double Doser. We appreciate you joining the Truth Train even more so. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Hell of a thing. Here we go. Cynthia Erivo playing Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar causes outrage. Here it is.
Cynthia Erivo, who played the Wicked Witch of the West in that very dark demonic movie, Wicked, with Ariana Grande, has now been cast as Jesus Christ in Jesus Christ Superstar, which is sparking outrage. And let me tell you why the outrage is warranted. First of all, what the enemy tries to do is he tries to counterfeit and he tries to equate himself to God. So taking somebody that played a witch in a movie called Wicked, and then right after that placing her in a Jesus Christ role in Jesus Christ Superstar, you get Wicked Jesus Christ Superstar.
A female is playing Jesus. So that immediately tells me that we have some sort of agenda behind the entire thing. When is there not an agenda? But what exactly is the agenda? I feel like it's deeper than surface level, like just about everything these days. What do you think it means? What do you think they're trying to do? Are they trying to defame the name of Jesus?
But if you literally look nothing like the person you're trying to portray, how are you the right fit? I do find it rather disrespectful, honestly. And you know why? You never, ever see it with any other religion. It's always Christianity because none of the other religions would accept it. When I think of Jesus and a man who really did portray him well, this man did it perfectly. I believe his name is Jonathan Rumi. I could be pronouncing it wrong. I apologize. But Cynthia, she just doesn't fit the role. You know what? Let's even take away the religious thing on it. You wouldn't have Ryan Gosling playing Rosa Parks.
So if Cynthia can play Jesus from Jesus Christ Superstar, then Zachary Levi, literally perfect Dorothy from The Wiz.
Put it up, full mass. See, they're all outraged because a Black woman is going to be cast in a role in Jesus Christ Superstar. First of all, I don't think Jesus would approve of the title. But let's be very clear. The first counterfeit that was ever done, not in the contextualization of Hollywood or acting or a stage performance or reenactment, was the lie that Jesus was a white man. Now, for some reason, that didn't cause you outrage, and it was presented as a fact of history rather than a portrayal of a character. Jesus isn't even his name. Joshua. His name is not Jesus Christ. Christ is affixed as anointed one or Messiah. His last name was not Christ. We have conflated so much, haven't we? So you're comfortable with the first lie of whiteness, but you're uncomfortable with the second truth of Blackness. Let me explain. You don't have to be a scholar to understand historical dynamics of the race and culture of Yahshua. The scripture you read says that him and his family escaped and had to go to Egypt because King Herod was going to kill this born Messiah. Egypt is Africa, and it's very difficult for a white Jesus to hide in the black Africa. So that's number one. Number two, Book of Revelation says clearly that his skin was the color of bronze and hair was the texture of wool. Now, I don't know too many white men who are walking around with skin that color nor hair of that texture. It also describes his eyes and a few other things. But if that's not enough for you to understand that her role is more aligned to the spirit of the gospel. Let me remind you, now I do this because I don't let feckless individuals like that hijack my faith. I'm a Christian man. I may not be Christian in the contextualization that they are. I actually care about people. But I do have to say this for the record. The scripture says there is no gender for those who are in Christ Jesus. That's what your Bible says. That's what it says. And then Apostle Paul summed it up quite well. All you got to know is this: God is love. Well, what does that mean? That means that love is God. So if you're spewing hate, then, so damn sad. So actress who is now set to play Jesus Christ in Jesus Christ Superstar this summer in a production of Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice's Jesus Christ Superstar at the Hollywood Bowl. Performance for Jesus Christ Superstar at the Hollywood Bowl will begin August 1st and run through August 3rd. Yes, they have an agenda. They're about to bring that crowd, son. They're gonna make that money. What you talking about? Yeah, they do have an agenda. And they're gonna make a great point. It's gonna be compelling, okay? Breaking the narrative, being a radical, being revolutionary. It's interesting. Jesus never talked about Yahweh. He talked about, you heard it taught this way, but I'm telling you, this is what it is. He broke all of the religious norms. He told you, hey, listen, the Sabbath isn't even that holy. So he was working on it and got accused. He was trying to help you understand, get out of the matrix, get out of the dogmatic doctrinization of hierarchical leadership and understand what's really happening in front of you. So now these women, let's put them up again, they're upset. They aren't the only ones who express their dissatisfaction online. The Christian nonprofit, here it is, perfectly okay with the lie of white Jesus. God's Way Foundation tweeted, disgusting. Christians will not stand for blasphemous displays of Christ. Interesting. So Jesus wasn't a Christian. Apostle Paul wasn't a Christian. They were part of a group they called The Way. That's the name of their group back then. It later became Christians because they were mocked and they were called Christians, which meant in the Koine Greek, it meant little Christ men. And they decided to adopt it and make it something positive, kind of like what you all did to Obamacare. Just giving you some more facts. All right, influencer Alexander Lanes tweeted, Christianity seems to be the only religion that's never off limits for Hollywood to disrespect. Cynthia Erivo, black woman, as Jesus Christ. Please stop with the lunacy. It's interesting because they're not upset at the fact it's a woman. They're upset about the race of the woman. You understand? The contextualization is a black woman playing Jesus Christ. Well, what do you want? You want a white woman to play? That would be more in line with the lie of Jesus being a white male. Mary Magdalene wasn't white either. Neither was Peter, James, Thomas, Nathaniel. They forget about Nathaniel the prophet. His name was Nathaniel. So here's the thing, okay? Conservative pastor, John K. Amichukwu. John tweeted, quote, with all due respect and humbly submitted, Cynthia's too bald, brown, and bi. to play Jesus. There's more. Casting a woman as Jesus Christ in an international form of blasphemy that Hollywood would be fuming over if done to certain other religions. Pastor, you know why a whole lot of folk don't really respect your brand of Christianity. Number one, y'all voted for Trump. I could stop there. But be respectful in how you utilize your faith, and you will be respected by those around you, but you have prostituted Christianity to the highest bidder. Where were you all during the civil rights movement? I didn't see Billy Graham and the Christian evangelicals helping Dr. King. Where were you? Where were you when Rosa Parks was arrested for simply sitting down, even though she was paying her tax dollar? The reality is, you all have purchased a lie willingly of a white Jesus, and it's not the race, it's the social contextualization of white and divinity together. That's why this is shocking you. Your subconscious has equated white to righteousness. And all of a sudden, those things are being shaken inside of your mental construct. Australian Senator Ralph Babbitt tweeted, self-proclaimed queer is said to play Jesus Christ blasphemy. This isn't about creativity. It's a direct attack on Christianity, a deliberate insult to our faith and traditions. They mock what is sacred, believing there will be no consequences. These relentless attacks on our beliefs will not stop unless we stop them. Christianity is under siege. We cannot negotiate with evil. We must eradicate it, repent, or perish. Blasphemy. According to the scripture you read, the only blasphemy that's actually possible is blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. That's when the Spirit speaks through you at a given time. Go to the Old Testament, burning incense was an abomination unto the Lord as well. So, however, Jesus Christ Superstar was controversial with certain religious groups from the very beginning, with the musical drawing regular protests during its first run in 1971. However, many Christians loved Jesus Christ Superstar, and the musical proved hugely popular with a wide range of audiences, holding the record for longest running West End musical before being taken by Cats in 1989 and inspiring 2 feature film adaptations. Amazingly, you all can forgive sexual assault. You all can turn the other way when children are being abused inside of the church. You all can forgive a man who has been a cheater of every wife he has ever had in his history of marriages. You all can forgive the moral corrupt and the moral decline of politicians. But when a woman is playing a role, portraying an expression of a faith leader in a historical context, no forgiveness is required, and you throw stones at her. Let me remind you, once again, in your Bible, when Christ was confronted by men like you, and they threw this woman in front of him and said, oh, she has blasphemed. She was caught in the very act of adultery. She was fornicating. What should we do with her? The law says we should stone her. Number one, if she was caught in that act, where's the man? You just brought her. Christ drew something in the ground. We don't know what he drew. Maybe the sins of the people who were doing all this madness. But he said, he who has no sin cast the first stone. And one by one, they all left. Here we go again. All right, Waz, thoughts here.
Man, just beautifully said. Very moving stuff. I in high school, I ended up taking a class called Jesus in Film. And a lot of they touched on like movies where they're like themes of the Christ story. Like for instance, we watched The Matrix, and like Neo's supposed to be kind of like a Christ figure in that movie. And we watched Ghost, and another movie that we watched was Jesus Christ Superstar from the 70s. Like, so I'm familiar with this work. I've never seen the stage show, but we had to watch this movie in high school. Deeply entertaining. And again, the movie, the work is not about Christ's gender or like how you perform your gender as a Christ figure. It's about just like literally what the message of Christ is, which is what you said, Dr. Richie: love, acceptance, universalism. This idea that you need to treat your neighbor with some level of love and empathy and bring them in and not cast them away. And that these people would quibble, and that's the thing, and that's the most beautiful part. The irony of it is that these people would quibble, with the rendering of Christ as black and female, while like this God is essentially from Palestine, is supposed to be blonde hair, blue eyes, and it's insanity, the height of insanity. Right. They go to church every Sunday with a big old white Jesus staring at them and have no issues with its lack of historical accuracy, but let these people put on a play at the damn Hollywood Bowl, and it's World War III. It's ridiculous.
And it's also refreshing because it's shaking you out of the complacency, right? The real Yahshua was a radical, revolutionary consciousness teacher. And that's the truth. All right. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back. A lot of show left. Let me read some of these comments. That's right. Correct, Christian Flay. Folks had no problem at all with a black woman playing the green witch, but Jesus, and they had a problem with that too. She can't win. Might as well just go ahead and do it all. It's beautiful. DeAndre C. LOL, shaking my head. They literally have white Jesus once again being falsely portrayed in the upcoming major film. These people can't complain about every little thing. These people complain about every little thing. That's right. And yeah. Busy B, I love Morgan Freeman's portrayal of God and Bruce Almighty. It was flawless, was it not? And Dex. Once again, average white folks whining about an exceptionally talented person of color, exposing their lie about white male exceptionalism. I don't even think these are average white people, sir. I think these are just flat out bigots. Okay? All right. 24-hour blackout against corporations held today. Are you joining the blackout? Here it is.
I recently posted about the economic blackout of 2025. I posted how on this Friday, February 28th, we are not buying a single thing all day.
Hey, y'all, happy National Boycott Day. Just as a reminder, we are not bending, budging, breaking, or buying today.
If you plan on participating in the boycott tomorrow, the important thing that we really should be focusing on, besides not spending money with these other stores and whatnot, is putting our dollars towards Black-owned products, services, and brands.
So y'all not shopping today, correct? Correct? Put that card up. Good morning. Have a great day.
And you may say, well, why? Here's a breakdown.
Now, a lot of you had questions, so I'm here to answer them. We are not buying a single thing because prices are too high. DEI initiatives were pulled back, and we can do this because we have power as people. Now let's get down to the details. Can you shop at small businesses? Yes. Those are not big corporations. We are not buying from Target, Walmart, Superstores, Home Depot, etc. The mom and pop shop down the street, can you go to it? Yes. Can you go to IHOP? No. McDonald's? No. Taco Bell? No. So many of you in the comments are saying, I can't do that. It won't work. Y'all, I'm telling you, one day, do not shop at a large corporation. This one day can take millions away from a company, just like they've stolen money from us over the years. A lot of you are saying one day won't do anything. Y'all, we have to start small, okay? You can barely agree to this. After one day, sure, we'll do a week, maybe a month, but it's really hard to even get people to commit to one day of no shopping.
The sister makes a great point. I was having a conversation with a civil rights leader in the city of Atlanta, good friend, good mentor. And he reminded me during the civil rights movement, when the communities banded together due to the discrimination of where Black folk could sit on the bus, okay? In order to pull that off, the Black residents had to agree to not use public transportation provided to them in their local communities. This went on for a long time. That economic withdrawal or that boycott was pressure, okay? And in order for Black families to not lose their income, because now they don't have transportation to work, they do not have a vehicle, or many families only had one vehicle, but you have multiple people working. How were they going to do this? Well, they came together and they provided rides. Churches were involved. Other neighbors who could do so took people to work and brought them back home. They provided the support necessary. This movement was asking for 24 hours so that you could be treated better. News One reports the movement led by organizations like People's Union USA has dubbed this day of economic resistance. The idea is to show corporations, politicians, and policymakers that ignoring historically marginalized communities can come at a cost. Put another way, real dollars matter. So today, February 28th, you have the general economic blackout, economic withdrawal. We call it a boycott, okay? March 7th through 14th, Amazon. Amazon boycott, according to the organization. March 21 through 28th, Nestle boycott. April 7th to 14th, Walmart boycott. April 18th, economic blackout number 2. Hopefully by then it has more traction, more people. And April 21st through the 28th, General Mills boycott. Obviously, I'm asking every person who has been directly, indirectly impacted, who cares about the communities that are directly, indirectly impacted, who are progressive in their thinking and they just care about human beings because they're decent, to all of our allies in the movement and in the fight. We are asking for you to be down with this movement as well, all right? We are stronger as a closed fist rather than a separated hand. Waz, thoughts here?
Yeah, while I tend to obviously agree with the general notion that without us banding together, some form of organizing, not just as Black people, but as working people, just generally what we watch the freaking oligarch in chief take over our government. I'm just a little bit more dubious about the means in this case. And not because I don't think we should try to strike back at Walmart. I just think these freaking oligarchs have so effectively monopolized the entire freaking economy. There are places in our country that if somebody wants some eggs or milk, they can't go anywhere but Walmart. They've gone out and taken over everything, everywhere, that to make it so that like Kroger and some of these supermarket conglomerates where you have to deal with them. And for the folks like, if you live in somewhere like Atlanta where Dr. Richie is, I'm in New York right now, I live in Los Angeles, you got plenty of options. You could do your farmer's market thing, you could do your more mom and pop situation, but a lot of people, man, specifically in the non-major cities, like Walmart has everybody by the freaking throat, and that's when they start raising and price gouging the hell out of these people. And the only reason they can do this is because they've stripped the people of these choices. So that's my only actual quibble, is that it's very difficult for everybody to actually take part in it because our corporations have so thoroughly, man, freaking taken over our entire economy.
Yeah, you make a great point, especially about rural communities. And obviously we don't want anybody to be hungry. But if there's a way, make a way. And we understand if there are routes that you cannot go. All right, we'll bring you updates as updates develop with that movement. The FBI director appointed by Trump, what does he want? He wants the ultimate fighting championship to be part of the FBI. Yes, FBI and the UFC. Somebody about to get a check. Put it up full mass. This is privatization light. According to sources, FBI Director Kash Patel was told, he wants to bring the UFC to the FBI. Now just keep that picture up. Does Kash seem like the guy? I know he can be, but do you really believe this is his idea? On a conference call this week with the heads of the FBI's 55 field offices, the director suggested that he wants the FBI to establish a formal relationship with the UFC, which could develop programs for agents to improve their physical fitness, says sources who had been briefed on Wednesday's call. Newly installed FBI Director Kash Patel, who's proclaimed plans to overhaul the nation's premier law enforcement agency, have rattled many within the Bureau, has proposed enhancing the FBI's ranks with help from the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Y'all, we in trouble. I'm going to get through this story. Unfortunately, this is not an SNL skit. This is real life, and we are in the twilight zone. And so let's just deal with it, all right? The martial arts entertainment giant, whose wealthy CEO, Dana White, helped boost President Donald Trump's re-election, according to sources who were told of Patel's proposal. White, who is esteemed to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars, has long been friends with Trump, and last year became a big donor to Trump's presidential campaign. He joined Trump on stage in Florida during Trump's victory speech in November, just hours after polls closed on Election Day. I got to say this, oligarchs move quickly. I mean, Trump about to give that money back plus some right now. Through the FBI. Our money. It's important to note as of 2020, White, 51 years of age, has also made significant contributions to Trump over the past 5 years, recently giving a donation of $1 million in November to America First Action. That is a pro-Trump super PAC. 2 weeks earlier, Trump appeared at a UFC card at Madison Square Garden as White's guest, becoming the first sitting president ever to attend a mixed martial arts event. Significant donations were made this election as well. Within hours of Wednesday's call, word of Patel's UFC proposal spread to current and former FBI officials around the country. Quote, if they're trying to up their physical fitness, the UFC is very specific in their fitness, said ABC News contributor Rich Frankel, the former special agent in charge of the FBI's Newark, New Jersey office. Frankel, who spent more than 2 decades with the FBI, said the FBI may benefit from increasing its physical fitness standards. So the idea of UFC helping with the FBI's training regimen may not be as unusual as it sounds. He said some FBI officials have previously brought in martial arts experts and others to offer tips to agents, but, said Frankel, I don't want UFC to take over the gym. It's not exactly clear what Patel would want the UFC to do or provide to improve the fitness among FBI ranks. The FBI, in their infinite wisdom, decided not to comment on this story. They didn't even back it. You got to understand. FBI said, he said what? No comment. He's the director. He said, which means obviously there's a press release. There's a comment from the FBI. No. Why? Because Patel likely doesn't even want to do this. Waz, thoughts here?
I mean, Kash Patel, as one of his first order of business, telling the troops, the rank and file, that they got no hands. And so he needs to get the UFC involved. It's crazy. Like, you jokers can't fight. It's kind of crazy. But also, more importantly, as Dr. Richie so beautifully pointed out, Dana White, proprietor of the UFC, prominent Trump backer, they're proposing he get a contract with the government. Our money, taxpayer money, essentially a sanctioned kickback for this guy's support of the president. It's just corruption at its finest. It's just obvious. It's obvious corruption. It's obviously a bribe, payback, whatever you want to call it. And it's no different. And I'm sure you guys saw this. Elon Musk on December got a contract from the State Department for $400 million for armored Teslas, okay? This is the self-dealing we're talking about, cleaning up the government efficiency and waste and all of that. It's taking the pile of money from one place, putting it directly in the pocket of Trump's oligarchs, AKA his pimps and handlers. That's all this is. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm sure these FBI cats can't fight, of course, but that's what they got the guns for. Okay, and this idea that UFC is going to come in and clean up their operation on the physical hand-to-hand combat situation, I just think is BS. It's just another way to funnel money to the rich.
Yeah, and it's interesting because federal agents are more so investigators than, let's say, a street cop, right? If there was a need, it would be the local police. Who may actually encounter a random criminal incident, which likely doesn't happen to the average FBI agent. All right, we'll bring you updates as they come. We got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
Indisputable exclusive. Exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back. Okay, here we go. Floyd Money Mayweather says Trump is the best president we've ever had. Here's what he said on Fox Business.
At least I'm happy, but we're never happy. When we had Trump before, we didn't appreciate him. But I think Trump is a great president. Actually, he's the best president in my eyes. He's the best president we ever had. Great businessman, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, and the way the day's cabinet thing, you probably went around here, it was really phenomenal. To the point you talked about, team, putting together a great team,
yes,
put together a fantastic cabinet.
Trump has done an amazing job, and a lot of people around America are upset. But no matter who goes in the White House, we're always upset.
Right.
And I think Trump is the man for the job. He's the best president in my eyes.
He's the best president in my eyes. Brother, you talking like somebody got a gun to your head. We reading the script. Or you practiced this before you went on because they told you this is what you need to say when you come on. Put up the picture full mask. If you notice, they're full of propaganda. They provide no substance. Typically, if you are great at something, there are accomplishments that can be read off easily. They're great because they did A, B, C, D, E, F. These are the accomplishments. No. He's great because he's great. He's great because he's great. Okay? That's it. And he's the greatest to be the great. Best ever. Nothing else. During an interview on Fox Business, Mayweather, who has been a longtime supporter of Trump, became more vocal about his allegiance. And we had Trump before. We did appreciate him, Mayweather said. Now, this is resurfacing, and it's funny. Let's go to Mr. Thomas, Eaton Thomas. Okay. Floyd Mayweather has the right to promote and support whoever he wants, but good Lord, Floyd. that was perfectly said. You have class, right? Another user wrote, return of my Mr. Yeah, emphasized the president loves the uneducated. Yes, the president loves the uneducated. And Mayweather fits the scripture since he's allegedly illiterate. You know, it's kind of a cheap shot, but He brought it upon himself. The chaos has continued. So the chaos theorist said Floyd Mayweather cannot read. Floyd Mayweather, quote, cannot read Trump. We love the uneducated. Another user wrote at Mandy_Kelsey implied that Mayweather's political stances are invalid since, quote, he can't even read a page out of a Harry Potter book. All right. During a high-profile feud a decade ago, I'm going to give you the origin of this he can't read thing. The 50 Cent accused Mayweather of being unable to read. Though the athlete denied this claim, it still persists years later. Speaking of 50, he reacted to the video on Instagram writing, LOL. LOL. You know how when you're in school and a kid eats the crayons? Now you see what happens when they grow up. Then he says, spell best president, champ. LOL. Considering Trump's attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion under the guise that Black people benefit from it the most, many believe that his presidency will continuously target vulnerable communities, obviously, and they will. Mayweather's devotion to Trump has been seen as betrayal to Black folk by many. They are calling him a sellout. You know, here's the thing. He gets to say all of this from the comfort that his millions and millions of dollars provides for him and his family. And that money was provided by hardworking everyday people. And Black folk popularized the whole concept of the icon known as Floyd Money Mayweather. But brother, you're just Floyd, brother. I'm just Rashad, brother. That's just Wise. Okay? We're the same. And if Wise is hurting, I'm hurting. Okay? So you may not be hurting personally, but the community that produced you is hurting. The people who look like you are hurting. Okay? That's how we win. Understanding and being responsive to the need of those around us. All right, Waz, thoughts here.
There's a few things, man. I'm like you said, I was somebody who was a big fan of Floyd's back when he was Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah,
before he took on the money moniker, I was just always a fan of his craft. And I think one of the things that listeners need to understand is that this guy comes from very humble beginnings. Like this guy did not grow up with any money whatsoever. But unfortunately, oftentimes, man, a lot of Black dudes, when they come from the most humble origins, when they make hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, they become the most reactionary. This concept of, I did it on my own, I did it by myself, so nobody else has an excuse, and they embrace like reactionary politics. Unfortunate for Floyd, that seems to be the route that he's taken. And the craziest thing to me, like Lil Wayne goes out and endorses Trump. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard for me to be that mad at the guy when the guy sprung him out of prison. Like I've never been in prison,
he has
thank
a reason.
God. Yeah, like if somebody got me out of federal prison, I might endorse him for president too. What's Floyd's excuse? Like this guy is independently wealthy. He doesn't need to align himself with this nonsense that is the Trump regime, and that he would go out and shill this way. He's going out pretty sad, and it's ugly to watch.
Yeah, very much so. Dear brother, always fascinating to have your brilliant analysis. Thank you so much for all you do. Tell people how they can follow you, check out your great work.
Just check us out on theringer.com, our sports and pop culture coverage, and make sure you follow me on every single social media platform, BIGWOS, everywhere.
Thank you, my friend. Always fascinating. For you, remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.